Hello, my name is Douglas Bloch. I'm an author and mental health educator. Welcome to Depression Recovery Channel, where each week we talk about practical tools and coping strategies for healing from depression and anxiety. This is episode 7 of my audiobook, When Going Through Hell Don't Stop, a survivor's guide to overcoming anxiety and clinical depression. This episode is part 3 of chapter 3 called Treading Fire. In this episode, you'll hear how I coped during a typical day in the hell of clinical depression. So you're going to hear about what my day was like, what happened when I woke up, how I got through the day, and how I finished the day, and how I was able to live one day at a time in this manner.
7. Staying focused on the present moment. As you may recall, the crux of my survival plan for living in hell was to live one day at a time. As Pat emphasized, Douglas, if you can figure out how to make it through a single day, you can find a way to survive your ordeal. This was easier said than done. When my pain increased to an 8 or above, I would abandon the present moment and imagine a future of catastrophe and doom. Thoughts such as, I can't go on like this, or I won't live the rest of my life in this much agony, further escalated my despair and hopelessness and drew me closer to the prospect of suicide. When I shared my experience with Pat, she said, Douglas, when you hear thoughts like these, don't believe what your brain is telling you. It is under the influence of a drug called despair, which is distorting its view of reality. As a result, your feelings of hopelessness do not accurately reflect your true potential for recovery. As a way to keep me safe, Pat and I devised a simple but powerful 3-step technique for responding to catastrophic and despairing self-talk. We named this exercise Back to the Present. You can use this technique if you find your mind jumping into the future and seeing only gloom and despair. Exercise. Back to the present. Step 1. Notice what is happening. Become aware that your mind is dwelling on thoughts of catastrophe and doom. Identify the catastrophic thought, e.g., I'll never get better. This pain will never stop. I will never be happy again. Next, say out loud, cancel, cancel. Then take a deep breath and focus on your feet resting on the floor as you exhale. This will bring you back to the present reality. Step 2. Realize that these thoughts are not about what is happening now. They are about the future. Since the future has yet to occur, it cannot harm you. Step 3. Refocus on the present moment through positive self-talk and constructive action. For example, you might replace the statement, I'll never get better, with, what self-care strategy can I choose right now to get me through this period? Then put that strategy into action. Examples include going for a walk, calling a friend, listening to some uplifting music, etc. The key is to turn your mind away from your fearful thoughts and focus on engaging with the world. I cannot recall how many times this simple process allowed me to endure a day, an hour, or even a minute of intense pain. In giving me a way to manage my catastrophic and potentially dangerous thinking, this technique literally saved my life. Spiritual support. The spiritual aspect of my struggle centered around a single word: faith. I wanted desperately to believe that my suffering had meaning and purpose, and that one day it would end. The irony was that I had authored a number of spiritual self-help books that provided readers with healing affirmations and spiritual encouragement in the face of fear, doubt, and despair. Over the past decade, I had received hundreds of letters and phone calls from people who testified that my words had helped them to overcome a variety of physical and emotional challenges. Read your own books, my friends would tell me. I did so from time to time. But whatever comfort I derived from the passages was drowned out by my pain, which gave evidence to the conviction that God had truly abandoned me. Despite my absence of faith, I began to attend church again. My place of worship was the Living Enrichment Center, LEC, a large, non-denominational spiritual center located in Wilsonville, Oregon. It taught many principles of the Unity School of Practical Christianity, whose philosophy I had studied for 25 years. Like day treatment, attending LEC gave structure to my day and provided me with a community of like-minded people where I could hear messages of hope and inspiration that I had once believed. To help bolster my waning faith, one of the ministers at LEC suggested that I take up an old hobby, gardening. On the day I planted my garden, I was so agitated that 3 people had to steady me while I sowed the seeds in the fertile soil. Nonetheless, the message I gave the universe was clear. I expect to be alive in the fall to reap the harvest. These, then, were the main components of my daily survival plan. Like a soldier on the battlefield, my primary job was to keep myself alive until the end of the day. Here is an example of how this strategy worked during a typically difficult 24 hours. A day in the inferno. I have developed a new philosophy. I only dread one day at a time. Charlie Brown. The phone rings once, twice, 3 times. I reach to pick it up. "Rise and shine," sings the cheery voice. "It's your friend Christine with your daily wake-up call." As I emerge from my oblivion, I quickly scan my body for signs of agitation. I feel my left leg is starting to twitch, the first sign of an oncoming anxiety attack. I take a few deep breaths and attempt to relax. But it's like trying to maintain my ground in the face of a charging bull. "I think I'm going to need some help. Could you drive me to day treatment?" I ask feebly. "Sure," my friend replies. "I'll be right over." As Christine hangs up, the agitation becomes so strong that I can no longer lie in bed. I hurriedly get up and begin to pace the floor. It is the start of another day in hell. Knowing that Christine is on her way helps to calm me a little. Still, my body is shaking as I struggle to dress, so I take 0.5 milligram of Klonopin with some orange juice. Soon, Christine arrives and drives me to the community pool, where she waits in the lobby while I take my morning swim. Because my anxiety is high, I thrash about in the lap lane, barely avoiding a collision with oncoming swimmers. After 10 minutes of frenetic activity, I jump into the hot tub. The warm, relaxing waters add to the sedating effects of the Klonopin. I'm glad that Christine is driving. I arrive at day treatment in time for the 10:30 a.m. goals group. I sit through the meeting in a daze. Sedation is better than agitation. Then, in the 11:30 a.m. medication group, the Klonopin wears off, and I start to feel the initial sensations of an anxiety attack. In a few minutes, my body becomes so agitated that I start rocking to and fro like an autistic child. Christ, I think to myself, I was starting to calm down, and now this has to happen. It's futile. I'll never get better. With each new catastrophic thought, I feel myself being dragged into the mire of hopelessness and despair. Suddenly a voice in my head cries out, "Cancel! Cancel!" I realize what my mind is doing and switch gears to repeat my affirmations. This attack will not last forever. I've been here before and have survived. I can get through this. I have options. I can take a Klonopin, talk to a staff person, or walk around the block. Fortunately, we're about to go to lunch, which is served at the hospital next door. Our group marches rank and file to the hospital lounge, where I engage in my daily ritual of doing the newspaper crossword puzzle to distract myself from pain. At 12:30 p.m., the receptionist asks me to stop, and our group files into the lunchroom. Along the way, we pass the barbed wire courtyard of the psychiatric ward where I once resided. I wave at the patients, some of whom I recognize, knowing that I could rejoin them at any time. At lunch, the hospital food is atrocious, but the fellowship is healing. I enjoy the one-on-one interactions with a counselor and a fellow patient. At 1:15 the hour, we are asked to leave the lunchroom. The next group starts at 1:30 p.m. But with a new anxiety attack coming on, 15 minutes seems like an eternity. How will I contain myself without losing control? I grab a patient saying, "I can't be alone right now. Please walk with me." And he agrees. After I ingest a second Klonopin, the afternoon sessions go a bit smoother. And at 3:30 p.m., Christine picks me up and drives me to my weekly massage. My massage therapist lives and works in a houseboat on the shores of the Willamette River. During the session, I'm soothed by the gently lapping waves and the singing of the birds. For the next 45 minutes, I experience a respite from the pain. All too soon, I am awakened from my reverie by the sound of Rianne's voice telling me that the massage has ended. "No," I protest. "I want to lie here forever." Moments later, a gentle nudge tells me that I must make room for the next client. I quickly dress and walk along the moorage back to the shore. The colors of the sky are 1,000 shades of indigo blue, and the clouds look like elephants. I feel as if I am on a drug, which I am. I don't like the side effects of these antidepressants. Christine drives me home. After thanking her, I go inside to check my schedule. At 6 p.m., I will take my evening lap swim and then have dinner with my friend Anne. What will I do for the next hour? Unstructured time is the enemy. I can't be alone with the anxiety right now. I call the Metro crisis line and explain my predicament. Talking to someone gives me a focus and decreases my agitation. Human contact is my salvation. By 6, I am calm enough to drive myself to the community centre's swimming pool. As I begin my second lap swim of the day, I feel the Klonopin wearing off. To cope with the anxiety, I synchronize the rhythm of my strokes and my breathing to a 4/4 beat, using my affirmation to fend off despairing thoughts. I am peaceful. I am peaceful. I am calm. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I am peaceful. I am peaceful. I am calm. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It takes 2 repetitions of my affirmation to swim 1 length of the pool. 4 repetitions equals 1 lap. As the laps unfold, my nervous system unwinds. My brain releases a few endorphins. I am swimming not for my health, but for my life. After my swim, I eat dinner with my friend Anne and watch an intriguing episode of Mystery on PBS. Like many people who suffer from depression, I am most anxious and depressed in the morning and feel calmer as the day progresses. On this particular evening, the black clouds lift and I actually feel normal again. Later, as I drift off to sleep, I pray that my newfound peace will carry over into the morning. Maybe this is the turning point, I think. Maybe tomorrow will bring my salvation. But like Bill Murray's character in the movie Groundhog Day, I awake at dawn to find myself in the all too familiar anxious and depressed state. It's time to tread fire all over again. As I have shared in this account, my battle to survive was waged not just day by day, but hour to hour and minute to minute. Like a volatile stock market, my psyche was subject to unpredictable episodes of anxiety and depression, which rained down upon me like showers blowing in from the Oregon coast. As each downpour subsided, I was granted momentary relief until the next front came in. Because I never knew when an anxiety attack would strike, I had to be ready at a moment's notice to readjust my plans. Quite a lesson in learning to be flexible. Living this way was quite draining. I felt as if I were at the mercy of a strong undertow, dragging me out to sea. I would struggle with all my might to swim a few strokes towards shore, only to be pulled back towards the ocean by the overpowering current. By the end of the day, I was run down and exhausted, which at least helped me to fall asleep. But as the constant battle against the unrelenting black tide began to wear me down, I wondered whether the struggle was really worth it. Soon, my rhyming voices had composed a new verse. Madness or suicide, it's yours to decide.
This is Douglas Bloch. I hope you enjoyed listening to this part of my book. If you did so, please give the video a like. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comments section, or you can email me, douglasbloch@gmail.com. If you'd like to subscribe to this channel, just click on my photo in the closing credits. You'll be taken to my subscribe page, where you can click on the subscribe button, and if you click on the bell up to the right or next to it, you'll be notified every time I make a new video or do a live chat. And until we meet again, I wish you the best in your mental health recovery. Thank you.